Hi everyone, my name is Cerise and today I'm going to share about a point that has always been a bit of a challenge for me. Now, ever since I can remember, something that triggers a lot of anxiety for me is confrontation and conflict and feeling like I am facing an authority figure. So I think the key word that I'm going to stick with here is confrontation. However, it is encompassing those points within this context that I'm going to be sharing. So when I'm faced with a confrontational situation, my first response is fear. My heart starts beating faster, my blood starts rushing everywhere, I get red in the face, I get anxious, I get flustered, I get rattled, like I don't know what to do, and I can't think straight, and it's like I can't handle it, I can't deal with it, everything just goes like this in my head. And I found that in those moments that can be quite challenging to change because it's such an intense kind of experience and it's so disorientating. Now, when I was younger, this used to be more intense, especially when I was in school and when I got teased as a child and things like that. I also didn't have the tools at that stage to do anything about how I was experiencing myself. But as time went by, as I got older, as I started learning more about how to work with these kinds of emotions within myself, I started developing ways to deal with it. And I found that one of the points that really made a difference, it wasn't the only thing, but it was a big point that did make a difference, was when I stopped believing this whole policeman in my head type of thing, meaning that I stopped participating in that superiority-inferiority design where I would inherently see other people as being superior and see myself as being inferior, especially in situations of conflict. It's not like it was a rational belief, it was more like a subconscious, kind of like underlying sneaky thing that permeated into who I was and how I was living, even though I told myself, no, I'm not inferior to anyone. So it's like this sub-level thing that was going on. And when I became aware that I actually did see myself that way, I did see other people that way, I kind of had this moment of, oh, well, that's silly. I don't need to think this. I don't need to keep playing this game. So I started the long process that I'm still walking of, in the moments where I am faced with a confrontational situation or with a person who I am seeing in an authoritative position, I remind myself of, okay, who am I? What am I going to be living in this moment? Do I want to continue on this path of switching into this inferior role? Do I want to be generating this anxiety and fear within myself? Even though I may not be able to completely stop that experience of the anxiety in the moment, what I can do is stop feeding it, because it's like what happens is that for me, I start thinking about all the worst case scenarios, all the ways that I could be proven wrong, or that I could be diminished, that I could be hurt or made fun of, or whatever it is. And that feeds the experience, obviously. So I make sure that okay, I need to get myself to a point of stability. I need to find my center. I need to create my center here and be very aware of now what I'm thinking and what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. Because another aspect of this design that manifests for me is that if I switch into that inferior role, I start speaking differently, not only in the words that I'm using, but also in my tone of voice and how I will participate in the conversation. So my entire demeanor changes. And I've learned, I've learned to identify those moments by flagging those particular behavioral changes. So when I see that I am behaving this way or speaking this way or using this tone of voice, then it immediately is like a reminder to me of, okay, I better check myself what's going on here, because this is what I usually do once I've switched into an inferior role within myself. And there's no other points that I can really that I can share at the moment in terms of what big things can change this design, because it's not about big things. It's about understanding how it works, meaning where does it come from? Is it coming from a point of the, for example, inferiority complex, like where we are seeing ourselves as being inferior, or is it coming from a point of intense fear of conflict that comes from something else, maybe a past trauma? We need to be able to see for ourselves in our own lives where these points have come from, what triggers them to manifest, and from that we can start understanding ourselves and then start supporting ourselves to change how we're responding to those situations. Because remember, in the end, it's about how we have programmed ourselves in the past, taking that programming, understanding how it was done in order to reprogram ourselves, to recreate who am I in this situation. Okay, if you have any questions for me on this topic, please leave a comment or send a direct message. Otherwise, if you would like to support what I'm doing, you can support me on the Get Real Patreon profile. The link will be in the description, and you can become a patron there for as little or as much as you like. Every bit counts and contributes towards me being able to carry on doing what I'm doing, and so on and so forth. Alright, I'm going to stop now because the dogs are kind of distracting me with their shenanigans. See you next time.